Alright, another feedback in the article. This one is about a central New York man arrested in 7-month-old boy's shooting death. This person was only 18 years old. He accidentally killed the 7-month-old boy because he was cleaning his shotgun and it was loaded. He got up and then he accidentally shot the 7-month-old boy, killed the baby. Now he's in jail for criminally negligent homicide. But in the description section, you can see the link to the article. You can see it for yourself. Just want to give some feedback about it. You know, guns are very, very deadly and dangerous, and really, there's really no proper training that people get. I mean, yeah, there's some background checks you gotta go through to get the firearm, but where's the training? You know, Illinois is like the one of the very few states that even have training required in order to purchase a gun, and even that training is very minimal. I mean, it's only like I maybe think like 3 days long, and that's it, and you don't really do that much. And you're talking about guns that are extremely dangerous. I think, in my opinion, guns are more dangerous than motor vehicles, and they give a lot of training for motor vehicles compared to the guns. I mean, you gotta, you could drive at the age of 16, but even in high school they got those driving courses, that you could take. You either take it in high school, the driving courses, or you gotta take it at like an outside company and pay money to take it in an outside company. But you know, they don't have gun training in high schools. They don't even have gun training in colleges. Like, you don't see gun training facilities, instructors out there that are mass advertised. You might find a gun range, somewhere where you could go to practice to shoot, but where are the gun where are the gun training? There should be, just like there's some martial arts schools like Taekwondo and Kung Fu and Wushu or whatever, or just a gym. There's X Sport and all these other gyms. There should be gun training places, but there aren't. So you got a lot of people out there that are armed that don't have proper training. And for me, it's very easy. I mean, I've shot in BB guns when I was young and I was good at it. There's no problem. I started practicing martial arts, and I never, during the time when I was practicing martial arts, I never touched a real gun until I went into the police. And but because of the training in the martial arts and my prior training in, with the BB guns, it was so easy for me to learn. But one thing I realized is that it doesn't come that easy for everybody. Like, I've been training some people in the firearms, and it's not easy for them. Like, they don't shoot right, and then they have automated responses that are not safe. Like, they'll point the gun in very unsafe directions. They'll have their finger on the trigger like all the time, and they're just not. They need a lot more training, basically. And what I'm basically saying is that there's so many people out there with guns, but yet there's such a lack of training. People don't even know where to go for training if they wanted it. And that's the thing. It's like basically having all these cars out there, but then there's no driving schools. Like, there's no driving schools in high school. There's no driving schools in college. They're just like, hey, this is what you need to get the license. Here's your license. Go drive. It's just like, you just won't even imagine the amount of accidents if they did that. Even right now, when there are driving schools, people still get in a lot of accidents. So, like, I do support the Second Amendment and how we have the right to bear arms to protect ourselves, but at the same time, there's when there's a lot of people out there that are either criminals who have the mentality to use the gun for evil purposes or for criminal purposes. That's not good. But then what also is not good is when there's people out there that are not intelligent, that are negligent, that are just basically not responsible enough to own a firearm. Then stuff like this happens. Then suicides happen. Then they leave their gun laying around and it gets stolen. Then they leave their gun around and then a child gets a hold of it and kills themselves. I mean, there's so many instances of accidental deaths due to firearms and then suicides that's why there can be an argument of why there should be less, why people should not even have guns. Because first of all, you got people that are getting the guns that are criminals aiming to use it for evil purposes, bad intentions. And then you got people that are not responsible to have guns that end up killing themselves or killing other people by accident. And then you got people that are not emotionally and mentally stable that end up killing themselves through suicide. So it's like the mental health of the people in this country are pretty much indicating that we are not responsible enough to have guns. But the thing is, they're talking about background checks and all this other stuff, that it should be stricter in order to make it harder for criminals to get a hold of these guns. Okay, that's fine, but what about the training for the people that are good people that want guns? What about the proper training for these people? It just doesn't even exist. I mean, really, it should be part of their everyday training. Not just like a one-time thing. Because people they get taught how to drive a car, and then for the rest of their lives they could be driving a car every single day, and they're getting used to driving it. But people could get a gun license and then they never practice. They don't practice safety. It's like they don't, like, it doesn't become a part of their life, like how driving a car is. They get too relaxed with it. They're not mentally sharp. They're just not aware. And then things like this happen. Another thing is, this person's 18 years old. He shouldn't even have a gun in his hand, a real gun in his hands to begin with, without like adult supervision. So, but it's just a sad thing how this person, his entire life is just ruined because of this, basically making this mistake. And I support the Second Amendment and a right to bear arms, but that is for responsible, mature adults that are intelligent, that know how to operate the firearms safely. But in a situation like this, people that are not responsible, one pull of a trigger can change the future of your entire life in a split second. So people that are in fear of guns, people that don't trust themselves, don't trust their own responsibility, then maybe it's best that they don't get near any guns. If they can't even be responsible with a vehicle, they can't be responsible with a job, can't be responsible with alcohol. If they can't demonstrate responsibility in the basic aspects of their own lives, then what makes you think they're going to demonstrate responsibility with firearms? So maybe, this article is almost an indication that not everybody should own and possess a firearm. Only the well-trained, responsible, mature people out there that are intelligent should have firearms to protect themselves and their families. But just not just everybody. Just like, you could have people out there that are good at riding bicycles and they ride every single day and everything's fine. But then there's people out there that don't ride well, get in some major accidents, and then they kill themselves. Same thing with the motor vehicle. Same thing with a motorcycle. Same thing with alcohol. Somebody could drink alcohol and be responsible with it and never gets himself in trouble. Another person drinks alcohol, gets DUIs all the time, ends up getting in a car accident and killing some people. You know, it's all about responsibility. It's all about maturity. It's all about intelligence. But also, what I say is that there's not the state, the government does not really put any effort into making sure that the people that own firearms are properly trained. Not just one time, but on a consistent basis, and that's going to be very hard to implement, because a person's awareness with the firearm is just as important as like daily health and wellness. You know, like you need to brush your teeth every day, you need to take a bath every day or shower every day, you need to exercise every day, you need to eat healthy. Well, you always got to be alert and aware when you own a firearm, especially if you're going to carry it with you everywhere. You need to always be alert and aware and be on top of your game at all times, like mentally and physically and everything spiritually. Otherwise, that gun could be used, you know, it could end up becoming a detriment to your own life. Like I said, one mistake could just change everything. You leave your gun laying around somewhere, your little child gets a hold of it and kills himself or somebody else. Now your child's dead, and then now you're responsible and you end up in jail for the rest of your life from that mistake. You know, so this article, in a way, hopefully people could learn from this person's mistake and not become, you know, in the same, you know, not end up becoming, you know, not end up being in the same situation.